Ben Manley, who would love to be here in person with us today, found out that he had COVID 2 days ago. So he's going to be on screen. Ben Manley is a concert sound engineer and experimental composer with an interest in native plants that support pollinators and biodiversity. And he asked me to ask the audience, did you know that it takes 6,000 caterpillars to raise a brood of chickadees? Accompanying Ben Manley, Christopher Hoffman. Christopher Hoffman is a cellist, composer, and filmmaker. He studied at the University of Wisconsin under David Cowley and moved to New York City in 2002. There he has worked with Yoko Ono, Martin Scorsese, Iron and Wine, and has performed all over the US and Europe. He has a long-standing relationship with composer and saxophonist Henry Threadgill. In 2016, Threadgill's album, In for a Penny, In for a Pound, won the Pulitzer Prize for Music. Christopher Hoffman has a new record coming out this March titled Vision is the Identity. Ben and Christopher it's going to be a total surprise because we don't ask any questions. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi there. Well, I'm alive, and it's great to be here. I can't actually hear anything in the room unless someone gets really close to that microphone, but I understand you all can hear me. And I'm in New York City, and yes, I got COVID. I got hit hard by it the first time on Thursday, and I got Paxlovid, and now my fever's down, and it's great to be a part of this, even virtually, so to speak. And also that Christopher rose to the occasion, and also Jeff Barnett-Winsby supplied the PA system. Chris is doing sound now and some cello in a bit. Here's what's going on. Here's the story. I'm not an ornithologist. I'm not a Rex Brazier Association event last December 3rd. But following up on that, the association sent out an email, and I saw these nice photos of people standing around, some with wine glasses in hand, looking at all the paintings. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice, you know, I'm a concert sound engineer and sometimes a composer and performer as well. And I thought, well, it'd be so easy. I'll just go out in the woods there and I'll make a recording of woodland bird sounds, and they could play that recording at their next fundraiser event. And so instead I've been invited to speak, but between now and then I made 2 recordings. And say, Matthew, could you start recording number 1, which is brought to us by Mike Dunn. And you'll have to tell me when the recording has played. It's only about 35 seconds.
It's playing, Ben.
Okay.
It's finished, Ben.
Okay, thanks. Well, that is a Dawn Chorus recording. That's a successful recording. Again, it was not my recording. It was made by a fellow by the name of Mike Dunn, who has some great stuff online. And I, however, was not so successful. And let me read a little bit from something I found online about the Dawn Chorus. The Dawn Chorus is one of the most magical experiences in nature. A multitude of birds of many species all singing together in harmony as morning breaks and light begins to fill the skies. It is the natural world's most impressive and renowned concert. Well, yeah, I tried. And then the next line, an important line. With a couple of rare exceptions, bird song and dawn chorus is an activity that is limited to the spring and early summer. Well, that's what I didn't know. I made my first recording on the Brazier property in the early evening of July 24th. That is not in spring or early summer, as it turns out. And I didn't do the dawn chorus. I attempted to do the less active evening chorus because I'm not usually awake at dawn. So I have come to realize that what I thought might be, in fact, a slam dunk is really more of a quest. There's a holy grail for a wonderful dawn recording such as Mike Dunn did, as you just heard. I hadn't gotten there yet. On the other hand, I can share some of the imperfect recordings that I did make, and the first two are from that early evening on July 24th. And Matthew, go ahead and play the first of those two recordings, please. And let me know when it's done, because I can't hear it. It's about a minute long.
Finished, Ben.
Okay, thanks. Well, it's a bit odd to be on my own, like I've got a black hood over my head here because I can't see hear anything there, but I'll go on faith. And that recording has a high noise floor. I'm not sure why. I think I want to check in with this fellow, Mike Dunn, who does so well. I'm a concert recordist. I make recordings all the time, and I've used the same trio of microphones to make these recordings that I use all the time, thousands of times, a couple thousand times in concerts. But what I'm used to is having instruments, piano, drum set, clarinet, whatever, right in front of the microphone. So it was a bit of a surprise to be so unsuccessful, and it's okay, it's a learning experience. In this case, I had an ultra high noise floor. Maybe I turned up the microphone preamp gain ultra high because I wasn't getting much, but we did get bird was, and say it out loud.
Blue Jay.
Christopher had mentioned, and other people too, that it's called Merlin, and Merlin is quite fun. I recommend it for anyone who has an interest in this at all. You tap on a button on your phone, it starts recording. It saves that recording, it listens in, and when I played back the recording recently, I just wanted to make triple sure that it wasn't Blue Jay. Sure enough, my phone tells me it's Blue Jay. So I don't know what you all think of Blue Jays, but when I was growing up, and I was something of a bird watcher, a blue jay was considered a trusted bird. That's a controversial term. We were out there, we were listers in the negative sense of the word, if you're familiar with that. There's some bird watchers, and the stereotype is, for better or worse, that they are obsessive and compulsive about adding new birds to their life list, or their day list, or their state list, or their country list, etc. And in that kind of situation, you'd already seen, a great abundance of blue jays in your life. And so you tended to move on to look to the new birds that you hadn't ever seen before, who were hopefully further in the bush. But at the same time, as I've been reading a little bit, what's not to like about called trash birds? I mean, they're common, but there are community members, and I think they're to be celebrated. And I will suggest that one outcome of my little chat today is that everyone can start to pay attention to their own trash birds in their own yard. My favorite in my yard in Passaic is the gray catbird. It's an incredible bird. It's just solid gray except for black cap and I think they're called the coverts or something. Under the tail rather, is a beautiful rusty red color, and it makes a nice sound. It's close relative of the mockingbird. And it swoops around in a most graceful way, and it's commonly sitting on this wooden table right outside our south door. It's a great thing. So we can all choose, I'll just throw it out there. Everybody find 3 trash birds. You don't have, we can, I heard a laugh, in their own yard, and make good on it. And with the blue jay, it's a bit tough though, because although they look a little bit, to me, if I could say so, as like a Three Musketeer with their outfit, they do have a reputation as being like schoolyard bullies, and they are in some respects. They're big enough, but actually, a recent study, they somehow analyzed heaven forbid, the guts. They somehow knew what they've been eating. Like roughly 300 blue jays, excuse me. And only like 1% of them had eggshells in them or little bird fetuses or something. So maybe they're not quite so bad, and they do have attributes that are good. I'm trying to find something good about blue jays, and I think it's true. They are beautiful when they fly. They're the right size for us to be able to see them. They're a little smaller than a crow. They are almost as smart as a crow or a raven. They have very tight social bonds, I've learned, and that could be an inspiration for us all. So go ahead and check out the birds that are local to you, and you don't have, it doesn't have to be a big chore. If you don't have binoculars or don't want to get them out, just look at the way they fly. Whether it's a hummingbird or a smaller bird, like a chickadee, or a larger bird, there's simple joy to be had in these things. And I'm ready for you all to play the next 1-minute excerpt. This is the same location on July 24th. Please play. And let me know when it's done.
Finished, Ben.
Okay, thanks. Hey, Matthew, what is on the screen right now?
It's the microphone in the forest at night.
Okay, cool. Well, you also already saw the microphone with the green grass, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so a real quick technical note. I have 3 microphones inside that furry blimp thing. I feel funny about continuing to call it a dead cat. In the business, it's called a dead cat, because that's not, with no disrespect to cats. It's just got that furry, it's made in a coat, and it's R-Y-C-O-T-E. I'm just going to get techie slightly because that's what I am more of an expert in. There's 2 microphones in there made by Neumann, a mid-side arrangement of a cardioid and a figure 8. And there's also an Omni stuck in that same blimp thing, the Dead Cat, which fills out the lower register of frequencies. But the recorder that I used is hidden in the slide you're looking at now. There's a big piece of black plastic, a black trash bag. That's covering a recorder, which is a sound device, the 788T SSD, which is recording to a compact flash card. I know you don't have to memorize this. That's what's going on. And then separately, there's a battery. It's the size of a paperback book. And those 2 things are underneath the black plastic because it was extremely dewy and wet. I had the batteries would last about 3 hours. I could go back and change them. And I was, this photo here in the dark there, that one was more recently. That was September 28th. And I recorded from 1:30 in the morning till 8:30 in the morning, 7 hours. I changed the battery once. And Matthew, you could switch to the next slide, which is the one with the trees in the dark.
Sure.
Oh. We can't see it very well then.
I would like you to all sit back and relax and imagine hearing this over a period of 7 hours like I did. The first 5 hours or so had like nothing going on. And in this case, the next recording, we're going to hear broadband noise again, sort of a floor, a bed of noise, and that's from 2 creeks. I thought maybe I would hike up to the upper hidden valley almost of the Brazier property, but it was so, and the weeds were so high, I decided to record down near the road here. And there's the creek on one side, and the creek on the other side, and I just put the microphone in between, so there was sort of a balance of noise floor of rushing water sounds on either side, left and right. And after I pressed record, well, I wandered back about 200 feet away, and I lie down in the back of my SUV in the back part there. I kept my boots on. I had the window open. There were no mosquitoes, and I was just chilling the whole time, kind of drowsing in and out, drowsy and sleeping, but not sleeping. I did hear one of my favorite birds. I've heard it so much it could almost be a trash bird, just joking, and that is the barred owl. I think probably someone else in that room, multiple people maybe have heard the barred owl, which is a great bird. I don't have, it was somewhere in the 7 hours. I couldn't find it. I've been sick. I didn't have time to sit through and find it for you all, but that's a great bird, and that was heard by me, and it's somewhere in that 7 hour recording. But what we will do is listen to, you will, because I can't hear it, about 3 minutes and 16 seconds of the sounds of Chickadee Valley. That's what Rex Brazier called his land, the Chickadee Valley, and that's what kind of prompted me to mention that fact that it takes about 6,000 caterpillars to raise a brood of about 6 chickadees over about 18 days. And if we don't have these caterpillars, then we don't have chickadees. And so that's part of my interest, as mentioned by our relatively new interest in native plants. We can all grow native plants, and they're a lot better for biodiversity and the food web than all the invasives that were at least, that really filled up our property when we bought it 6 years ago. So for lack of a lot of birds, there are other sounds in the valley, and we're going to hear some in this next 3 minutes and 16 seconds. So sit back and imagine, if you will, imagine yourself, I don't know, in a lawn chair or in the back of the SUV, and you've already been listening for at least 5 hours. Go ahead, Matthew.
It's finished, Ben.
Okay, hey, Matthew, stay right there on the mic if you will, please. I'm definitely having this brain fog problem. Again, I'm okay. Did I mention that the recording earlier, after the Blue Jay, was the broad-winged hawk? I can't hear anything.
Yes, thank you.
I did. I mentioned the broad-winged hawk?
No, you didn't, no.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's where, so y'all heard that though, right? The squealing high-pitched sound after the Blue Jay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's a great one. I don't know much about that one. But I imagine that sound was happening, it was circling high above. And then the recording we just heard, though, had a variety of sounds. The rushing water, as mentioned. There were some little bird sounds that are as yet unidentified by me. They were not loud enough to be identified by the Merlin app that I've mentioned. There were some train sounds from Metro North. Could you all hear the train sounds?
Yes.
The whistles?
Yes.
Okay, great. And a quick little something, I lived in Passaic for a few years, and then came up in conversation with the conductor on the Metro North railway there, and he identified that what he said was that all across the country, I think I've heard it in other parts of the country, when there's a railroad crossing across a road, the trains are required to hit the whistle 4 times in a certain sequence. Long, long, short, long. And that gets stretched out over 20 seconds or more. And then he went on to say, it's like, here comes the bride. So now I hear it all the time. I hear, here comes the bride, or I wait for it, at least. And it was nice to hear that. And of course, as an audio engineer, it's nice to hear that car sweeping left to right. That was one of the tenants on the Brazier property heading off to work, presumably. This was about 7 in the morning. And it was well recorded, I would have to say. And then we had one more little treat with the loudest bit of the whistle from the train afterwards. So thanks for listening. And I'm going to switch gears here now. And we're going to, Chris and I are going to do something that is optional, but we can do it, so we're going to do it. It requires a brief intro. And we have excuses. That's what they are at best. The first excuse is that
Ben?
up early and go out to enjoy the dawn chorus. But that's in May, right? Not July or September. And I'm sure they have a good time. And the first Sunday of May, this listening day, is 2 weeks before May 19th. On May 19th, in 1924, there was an early BBC live radio broadcast of a cello player about an hour south of London. Her name, she's deceased, but her name was Beatrice Harrison. She was an active cellist in the London scene. And she became known for the fact that she would play in her garden commonly, maybe every day, and nightingales would come in and join her and play along with her, sing along with her, so to speak. And the BBC heard about it, and so they dragged in their heavy gear. I mean, back then, equipment, each piece was probably as big as a washing machine or something, not like what I carry around. And lo and behold, with all these guys with the big gear and very different garden environment, the nightingales were not to be found. No actual nightingale sounds, but they came prepared for all eventualities, and they brought with them a bird and a human, whose name I forget, who proceeded to make really great nightingale sounds. And the show went on, the live broadcast happened with cello and some kind of nightingale, but they didn't say that it was a fake nightingale until just a few years ago. And so this is kind of fun. And it's prompted an idea that maybe on the 100th anniversary, that would be May 19th of 2024, right in Passaic, we may reconstitute a reprise of this original broadcast, which became very, very popular. They did it like every year for about 12 or 14 years. That's like fun, and it allows somebody like me, who's experimental sound maker, etc., to make some sounds to join with a cellist such as Christopher Hoffman. And we hope this happens on May 19th, right there in Passaic. And this is not at all like what would happen for about an hour this coming May, but we're going to attempt a little tiny bit of unrehearsed duo with cello and some kind of nightingale, you decide. Say again, I can't hear anything at all there. So could someone tell me if Christopher is ready to play?
Just a moment.
I'm ready.
Ready?
Oh, I heard a sound. Is that the cello?
It is, Ben.
Okay.
you, Ben.
Okay, well, great. Could anybody hear my small contribution? I can't hear anything at all.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay,
Ben.
all right, well, sure. So this was fun, if not ridiculous, and I'm not sure what happened, but I wish I was there, and I will be next time. And have a great day. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thanks for giving me the space.